The war was over, or so everyone believed. For years, the planets had fought fierce battles in the cold darkness of space. Many lives were lost, and entire cities were destroyed. Now, peace talks were happening. Leaders from different worlds met to sign agreements. The guns were silent and hope returned to the stars. On Earth, people celebrated. The streets filled with laughter and music. Children played in parks without fear. Everyone wanted to forget the horror of war. But deep beneath the surface, in secret places hidden from the world's eyes, something was stirring. Captain Lena was not like the others. She had served in the space fleet for years, and she had seen the war's true face. To her, the peace felt fragile. Too fragile. In a small hidden base beneath the Earth's surface, she walked through a long corridor lit by cold blue lights. The walls hummed with the power of machines. Around her, scientists and engineers worked in silence, their eyes focused on screens showing strange readings. Lena stopped before a heavy metal door. Behind it was one of Earth's best-kept secrets, a dreadnought. These were massive warships, larger than anything the enemy had ever seen. Unlike the small fighters used in the battles above, these ships were built in secret far underground where no enemy could find them. The dreadnoughts had been ready for years, waiting. But no one outside this secret base knew about them. The I-Day leaders on the surface had agreed to stop fighting, and many thought the war was truly over, but Lena knew better. She looked at the ship's hull through the glass wall. It gleamed under the bright lights, silent and still. It was more than a ship. It was a promise. A promise that Earth would never be defeated. Suddenly, an alarm beeped, sharply. Lena's heart raced. She moved quickly to a control panel and read the message flashing on the screen. Unknown fleet approaching. No communication response. Her mind spun. How could this be? The war was supposed to be over. No, enemy ships should be near Earth. She ordered her team to prepare. The Dreadnought's engines began to hum softly. The secret fleet was waking up. In the skies above, the calm was breaking. Satellites showed unknown ships entering Earth's space. Panic started to spread among the public as news broke out. Was this the start of a new war? Lena stood firm. She knew that the real battle was about to begin, and Earth's secret dreadnoughts would be the key to survival. Meanwhile, on the other side of the galaxy, the enemy commanders watched with surprise. They had thought Earth was weak, broken by years of fighting, but now a shadow fleet was rising. They had underestimated the humans. The war was not over. It had only just begun. The silence in space didn't last long. After the first signals of unknown ships appeared, Earth's skies were no longer calm. People everywhere turned their eyes upward. News channels showed strange lights blinking in orbit. Scientists gave interviews, trying to explain what was happening, but no one had answers. Rumors spread like fire. Was it a glitch in the satellites, a peaceful visit, or something worse? Far below the surface, in a place hidden from the public eye, Captain Lena stood in front of a massive screen. Her team had confirmed the worst. A fleet was entering Earth's zone. It wasn't responding to hails. It wasn't following any agreed flight paths. The fleet wasn't broadcasting any peaceful messages. It was just moving, silent and steady, like it knew exactly where to go. Lena didn't panic. She was trained for this. She had prepared for this. The Earth's surface may have believed in peace, but below the ground a different truth lived. Lena and her team had never stopped watching. They had trained in secret. They had kept the dreadnoughts hidden, silent, waiting. Now the time had come. She gave the command, and giant machines around her came to life. Massive doors opened under the ground, and the Earth trembled as the first hidden dreadnought rose from its long sleep. Its shape was nothing like the small ships used in the last war. This one was different. Smooth, dark, and shaped like a shadow. It moved slowly but with a strange grace. It didn't need speed. It didn't need to show off. Its presence alone was enough. The people on the surface had no idea what was rising beneath their feet. News channels captured a strange cloud over a mountain range, not knowing it was exhaust from a hidden launch platform. A child pointed to the sky and asked his mother what that glowing light was. She smiled, not knowing how to answer. Inside the Dreadnought, everything was calm. No noise, just lights blinking gently. Lena walked into the command room. It was cold, clean, and ready. Her crew was already at their stations. Young officers, quiet and serious, waited for her word. She looked at the central screen. The unknown fleet was getting closer. Her second in command, a man named Kieran, spoke softly. "They're 30 minutes out. No change in speed. Still ignoring messages." Lena nodded. "Time to show them Earth is not sleeping." The Dreadnought systems activated, shields powered up, and silent engines pushed it upward. All over the world, more Dreadnoughts began to move. Hidden under oceans, mountains, and even abandoned cities, they rose without a sound. Earth was showing its real strength now. The enemy fleet must have noticed the change. They slowed slightly. A pause, a moment of hesitation. Lena leaned forward. "They didn't expect this." Kieran agreed. "They thought Earth gave up, that we were tired, weak." The Dreadnoughts moved into position, forming a wide protective circle around Earth. Their movements were slow, but perfect. Like a wall, they stood between the unknown fleet and the planet. Still, not a single weapon fired. There was no need for noise yet. Then something unexpected happened. A single small ship from the unknown fleet broke off and moved forward. Alone, it approached Earth's defense line. It was a test, maybe, or a message. Lena gave a simple order. "Don't fire. Hold position." The small ship stopped just meters away from the front Dreadnought. For a long minute, nothing happened. No lights, no sound, no signal, just waiting. Then, without warning, the ship turned around and flew back to its fleet. And the whole group started moving again, but this time not toward Earth. They began to spread out, taking up positions of their own. Kieran frowned. "They're not retreating. They're getting ready." Lena didn't blink. "So are we." In the next hour, space filled with quiet tension. Two sides, staring at each other across the void. Neither one made the first move, but everyone knew that calm wouldn't last. Back on Earth, the public still didn't know the full truth. They were told that military drills were happening. Some believed it. Some didn't. But it didn't matter. The real story was playing out far above their heads, where massive ships floated like sleeping giants. Lena stood in silence, her eyes fixed on the screen. Her mind was calm, but her heart beat with something deeper than fear. It was focus. The kind of focus that only comes when everything depends on your next decision. Then, a signal blinked on the screen. Kieran looked confused. "They're sending something." Lena stepped forward. The message was short. Just one sentence. "We didn't come to talk." Lena stared at the words. The time for silence was over. The time for waiting was done. She looked at her crew. "Ready all ships. Hold. Fire until I say." Outside, the Dreadnoughts shifted slightly. Their weapons stayed cold, but their engines burned brighter. The enemy didn't know what these ships could do. They had never seen what Earth had kept hidden all this time. Lena didn't want to fight, but she was ready if it came. Earth was ready. And this time, the world would see the true strength that had stayed quiet for too long. The calm before the storm had ended. The watchers were done watching, and in the silent darkness of space, the first real move was about to be made. The quiet in space had changed. It wasn't peaceful anymore, it was heavy. It felt like the sky was holding its breath, waiting. On one side, Earth's Dreadnoughts floated like silent watchers. On the other, the unknown fleet remained still, just beyond the edge of Earth's safe zone. Neither side moved, but both were ready. Captain Lena stood in the control room, eyes locked on the screen. Around her, her crew worked quickly but quietly, fingers flying across consoles. The tension in the air was sharp, but no one spoke about it. They didn't need to. They all felt it. The message still blinked on the screen. "We didn't come to talk." She hadn't replied. She didn't have to. Earth's answer was already in position. Dozens of dreadnoughts rising from secret bases now fully awake and watching the stars. "Ma'am," Kieran said, breaking the silence. "New movement. The enemy fleet is splitting again." Lena turned her attention to the display. The ships weren't retreating. They were surrounding the outer edge of Earth's orbit, slowly forming a wide net. It wasn't random. It was precise, practiced. Whoever they were, they had a plan. Lena narrowed her eyes. "They've done this before." Kieran nodded. "But they haven't done it to us." Lena stepped closer to the screen. "Let's remind them where they are." Without saying another word, she pressed a button. In distant parts of the world, more hidden hatches opened. Giant shadows began to rise from beneath the ocean, their surfaces dripping with seawater. More dreadnoughts joined the defense ring above the planet, silent and steady, like ancient guardians waking after a long sleep. For the first time, Earth's true strength was visible to anyone watching. These were not ordinary ships. They had no need to move fast. Their presence alone shifted the balance of power in the skies. Then something changed. The stars above Earth were no longer peaceful. The night sky still shimmered, but something had shifted, something deep and silent. People on Earth slept without knowing that high above them, space had turned into a giant chessboard. Every move mattered. Every decision shaped what would come next. Inside Earth's leading dreadnought, Captain Lena stood still, her eyes scanning the latest data on the screen. The enemy fleet hadn't attacked, but their intent had become clear. The hidden modules, the quiet construction, the messages that said nothing but meant everything. They weren't here to talk. They weren't just passing through. They were establishing a presence. "Status on Phase 2? She asked without turning. Kieran, her second-in-command, checked. The latest updates. All silent movements completed, no alerts triggered, outpost scans remain undetected. Lena nodded. The enemy might have superior numbers or unfamiliar technology, but Earth had experience, patience, and something even more powerful. Preparation born from years of silence. Far beyond Earth's orbit, the drones Lena had deployed were showing clearer pictures now. The mysterious modules weren't weapons, not yet. They were platforms. Quiet structures slowly unfolding like petals in space, taking shape piece by piece. They weren't designed for destruction. They were designed to stay. "They're building for long-term presence," Lena said softly, "testing how far they can go without being stopped." "Like a slow tide rising," Kieran replied. "They're trying to see if we'll step back or if we'll hold our ground." The silence between fleets continued, but it wasn't empty. It was a silent conversation of movement, formation, and unspoken signals. Every slight shift in position carried meaning. Every scan or energy pulse sent a message louder than words. Back on Earth, the media had picked up on some strange occurrences. Lights in the sky, faint hums near quiet coastal regions, brief signal losses, but no one knew the full truth. The official story was a meteor shower combined with global satellite upgrades. Lena knew they couldn't keep it quiet forever. But for now, secrecy was an advantage. She walked slowly across the bridge of the Dreadnought. The ship was large, but silent. Lights glowed dimly along the walls, and the hum of energy filled the space like a calm heartbeat. Her crew was focused, eyes on their stations, but they all knew they were standing on the edge of something bigger than anything Earth had faced before. "Ma'am," a younger officer said, pointing to a new alert on the display. "One of the modules just activated a signal relay. It's broadcasting, not toward us, but outward." "Outward to where?" Kieran asked, stepping closer. The officer zoomed out the map. "It's broadcasting far beyond this sector. Deep space, unknown destination." Lena stared at the screen. "They're calling someone." The room went still. "Is it a distress call?" Kieran asked. "No," Lena said. "It's a status report. They're telling someone, somewhere, that this planet is almost ready for something." Kieran stepped back, a weight settling in his chest. What if this is just the first wave? Lena didn't answer right away. Her thoughts were racing. Earth's hidden fleet was strong. The Dreadnoughts had held their line without blinking. But if more were coming, if this was only the beginning, they needed to do more than hold. They needed to understand. "Send the long-range stealth probe," she said. "The newest one." Kieran blinked. "The prototype?" "Yes. Deep scan of their largest structure. I want to know what they're building. And I want it before morning." The officer nodded and began the silent launch. The probe was Earth's most advanced stealth tool. Small, black, and shaped like nothing nature had made. It could drift between light and shadow, almost impossible to detect. Within minutes it was off, slipping between energy fields, drifting close to the largest module. The command room waited. Back on Earth, in a hidden research center buried beneath the Arctic ice, a group of scientists monitored the incoming data. These weren't ordinary researchers. They were the best minds Earth had quietly kept off the books. Experts in alien tech, ancient signals, and quiet defense. "What do you see?" came the voice from the command room. The scientist squinted at the scan. "It's not a weapon. Not yet. It's a relay hub, like a center for traffic control or communication, but not just for this fleet." "Then for what?" "For something bigger. Something that hasn't arrived yet." Lena closed her eyes for a moment. "They're building a gate." The word sent a chill through the room. A gate didn't just mean more ships. It meant connection. Supply, reinforcement, maybe even control. "How long until it's operational?" Kieran asked. "Maybe a few days," the scientist replied. "Maybe less. But if it completes, they won't need this fleet anymore. They'll have a path to bring whatever they want, whenever they want." Lena turned to her crew. "Mark every active construction zone. Update orbital maps. Prioritize stealth around the relay hub. And contact the Luna Vault." Kieran looked, surprised. "The vault? That hasn't been opened in—" "I know how long it's been," she said. "But the tools we stored there were designed for moments exactly like this. The Luna Vault was one of Earth's last resort sites. Hidden, under the moon's surface, it contained special devices, built during the last war and locked away after the peace treaties. It wasn't about offense, it was about survival." As Lena gave the final orders, her dreadnought rotated slightly, slowly, but with purpose. Its position changed by just a few degrees, but it sent a clear signal across the stars. "We see you, we understand, and we are not stepping back." In response, the largest enemy ship rotated too. Its movement was calm, measured, and unmistakable. The conversation had reached a new stage. Not words, not battle, but movement, like pieces on a board getting closer, testing limits. And above the world, in the silence of space, the real story was just beginning to unfold. Because Earth wasn't just defending anymore, Earth was preparing. The moon cast its soft glow over Earth, unaware of the tension building beyond its reach. High above the clouds, past the satellites and silent watchers, two forces remained locked in quiet observation. Earth's hidden dreadnoughts still held their position unmoved. The unknown fleet continued its slow, calculated expansion, but everything was changing. Deep beneath the moon's surface, the Luna Vault had come alive after years of sleep. Its old systems, coated in dust and silence, had been reactivated with careful precision. Hidden chambers opened to reveal ancient technologies designed during darker times, times when Earth had prepared for the possibility that peace might not last forever. Inside one of Earth's most secure command rooms, the E signal came through. "It's online," said a technician, his voice low. "The vault systems are responding. Integrity checks complete, devices are stable." Captain Lena stood tall in the center of the room, her eyes focused on the live transmission. The image showed a vast underground chamber. Strange machines glowed faintly in the dim light, surrounded by engineers in sealed suits moving with quiet purpose. "How long until deployment?" she asked. 6 hours, the lead scientist replied. "But we'll be ready before that if needed." Lena nodded. "Stand by. No launch unless I give the order." The Luna Vault's devices were not weapons, not in the traditional sense. They didn't fire. explode, or destroy. Instead, they could disable, disrupt, mute the silent structures the enemy was building. If used at the right moment, they could turn the tide without force. But timing mattered. One wrong step could push the unknown fleet into action. Kieran entered the room quietly and handed Lena a small datapad. New report from the stealth probe. It just reached the far side of the enemy relay hub. Lena scrolled through the report. Her eyes narrowed. They're not just building a gate, she said. They're aligning it, a specific direction, toward a fixed point. Kieran looked over her shoulder. Do we know where it leads? The probe's estimate places the coordinates far outside this system, possibly even outside the local sector. Wherever it leads, they've done this before. A quiet hum passed through the room. Understanding began to settle like dust. This isn't the first planet they've visited, Kieran said. They've done this to others. Lena looked at him. Yes, and now they're testing Earth. She turned back to the screen. The slow construction around the enemy hub continued. Tiny ships moved with careful precision, aligning parts, reinforcing walls, linking strange cables. They're building a bridge to something else, she said softly. Something that needs Earth as its base. The words hung in the air. Earth wasn't just a location. It was part of a plan. But Earth was also watching. At the edge of the solar system, a second stealth drone had arrived. Its job wasn't to observe. It was to listen. It tuned itself to the faintest signals, the quietest pulses, the smallest whispers from space. Then it found something, a signal, weak but repeating. Kieran stared at the feed. It's not from them. No, Lena said. It's from further out. The signal wasn't in a language anyone knew. It wasn't even sound. It was timing, rhythm, and pattern, a slow pulse of intention. It wasn't a cry for help. It was a warning. The probe continued to listen. With each new layer decoded, the signal began to paint a picture. One of systems like Earth contacted, surrounded, and slowly turned into staging grounds. Earth wasn't the target. It was a doorway, and someone, something, had been warning for a long time. Lena took a breath. Send the signal to the Luna team. Overlay the pulse pattern. If that vault tech can be tuned to match the rhythm, we might be able to stop the gate before it links. Kieran didn't hesitate. On it. Time began to move faster. On the moon, the technicians adjusted frequencies. The strange machines, built decades ago and never used, started to pulse with a low hum. Their lights matched the signal. Their internal systems synchronized with the distant warning Earth had finally heard. Across the skies, Earth's dreadnoughts held their line. But now they weren't just protecting, they were preparing. Then, without warning, one of the enemy ships blinked out of position, no flash, no noise. It simply vanished. Lena looked up sharply. Where did it go? Unknown, said Kieran. We didn't detect any movement. It's just gone. The screen updated. A second ship faded next, then a third. Each disappearance was clean and quiet. No trace left behind. Lena felt it instantly. They're activating part of the gate. They're testing connection points, Kieran said. Sending their own ahead through whatever that thing is. And when they're sure it's stable, Lena added, they'll open the full link. The moment had arrived. Luna team, she said, turning to the command link. Prepare for pulse activation. On my mark. Back on the moon, the technicians gave final nods. Hands hovered over controls. Lights turned from green to white. Wait for my word, Lena said. We get one chance. Outside the dreadnoughts, space seemed unchanged. But the tension had grown so thick even silence had weight. Lena waited, and then the signal changed. The enemy fleet sent a new pattern, fast, sharp, deliberate. They know we're watching, Kieran said. Lena's hand moved. Now. On the moon, the vault released its pulse. It was silent, invisible to the human eye, but it rippled through space like a wave. The energy swept past Earth's orbit, through the silent vacuum and collided with the relay hub. The effect was instant. The structures flickered, some lights went dark, others blinked wildly, and one by one, the enemy ships stopped vanishing. The gate had been disrupted. Kieran stared. We stopped it. Slowed it, Lena corrected. But now they know we can. Across the distance, the largest enemy ship rotated again. Not in a pattern of attack, but almost curious. Like it hadn't expected Earth to respond with such precision. Maybe they were testing Earth, or maybe Earth had just passed the first part of that test. Lena leaned back. Let's see what they do next. And above Earth, in the silence between stars, the balance shifted once more. A faint shimmer moved across the outer edge of Earth's orbit, unnoticed by any ordinary sensor, but caught instantly by the hidden eyes of the Dreadnought fleet. The shimmer wasn't a weapon nor a ship. It was a field, a soft pulse of data, information, and intent. It touched everything in its path, mapping, scanning, learning, and then it vanished, leaving behind nothing but questions. Captain Lena. Watched the readings scroll across the main screen. She didn't speak. Her crew waited quietly, knowing something had shifted yet again. The silence was deeper now. Not the silence of peace, but of careful observation, like two minds studying each other, each waiting for the other to blink. The pulse changed direction halfway through, Kieran said, standing beside her. It wasn't scanning us. It was scanning what's behind us. Lena nodded slowly. Earth. They're learning, or confirming. The pulse had revealed something. Earth wasn't just holding its line, it was adapting, responding in ways unexpected by the fleet. Beyond. The Luna Vault's disruption of the gate had paused construction. The relay structure still floated in place, but without activity. The ships remained still, not out of hesitation, but consideration. They were rethinking their strategy, and Earth had little time to decide what came next. The hidden command deck of the Dreadnought was dimly lit, its walls pulsing gently with the ship's heartbeat. It wasn't just metal and wiring, it was a living system, connected directly to the command network spanning from lunar orbit to secret stations beyond Mars. Earth's reach had always been greater than anyone suspected. Now, it was all being tested. Are the satellite nets reconfigured? Lena asked. Completed 2 hours ago, Kieran replied. We also rerouted deep scan sensors through Jupiter's shadow arrays. No detection from the outer edge of the system yet. But it's only a matter of time, Lena murmured. Down. On Earth, no one knew. Not the citizens, not the media, not even many world leaders. They still believed Earth was at peace, still recovering from an old war long since declared finished. The truth was hidden far above them, where the real future was being shaped minute by minute. A soft tone echoed through the command room. New energy readings near the inactive gate, a technician called out. It's subtle, controlled, like a test signal. Lena turned. Are they trying to rebuild? No, ma'am, the technician said. They're not rebuilding. They're synchronizing. What with? The pulse they sent through our system. They mapped more than just Earth's structure. They mapped our response. Lena's eyes narrowed. Then they're ready to speak. The technician looked up, confused. Speak? But they haven't sent anything. They just did, Lena interrupted. They're telling us they understand, that we're not passive, that we're compatible. Kieran blinked. Compatible with what? We're going to find out. At that moment, a soft chime rang from the communication center. A transmission was coming in. Not words, not sound, just pattern. Light. Color. Sequence. It filled the screens across the Dreadnought bridge, pulsing softly like a living thought. The crew watched, mesmerized. The transmission wasn't just information. It was designed to be felt. It created emotions, memories, sensations, like a dream unfolding in real time. It's peaceful, Kieran whispered, like a memory of sunlight, or Home. Lena didn't speak. She watched as the light shifted, changed, and repeated. She understood. It wasn't a threat. It was an invitation. Not to surrender. Not to join. But to participate. The gate, the ships, the scanning pulses. All of it had been a test. To see if Earth was ready. Not for war, but for something else, a connection. A link to something bigger than themselves. And Earth had responded, not with silence, not with fear, but with awareness. They thought we were a quiet planet recovering from our past, Lena said. But we were never asleep. We were preparing, Kieran added. The transmission began to fade, but not completely. A small part remained, a signal waiting for response. A question left open. Do we reply? Kieran asked. Lena didn't answer right away. She stepped closer to the main console and reached toward the interface. Her hand hovered over the controls. We reply, she said. But not with noise. She activated the Dreadnoughts signal, emitter, not with speech, not with code, but with a simple pulse. A pattern, quiet and firm, filled with meaning. We are awake. We are listening. We are ready. And then they waited. The enemy fleet, no, not enemy anymore, shifted. Its formations changed, becoming more fluid. The ships moved gently through space, no longer in defense but in harmony. The gate's core lit up faintly once more, not to open but to stay ready. Not a doorway forced open, but one patiently waiting for both sides to agree. Earth's fleet remained on alert, but no longer in fear. In a control room deep under the Pacific Ocean, a hidden research team monitored everything. Scientists, engineers, thinkers, they had once designed defenses. Now they were preparing translations, because something had changed. The old war had truly ended, not with fire or silence, but with understanding. Lena looked at her crew, then out through the observation window. The stars were still there. But now they didn't just shine with light. They shimmered with possibility. And Earth, quiet for so long, had finally spoken. Not with fear, but with confidence. Because this time, the future wasn't coming to Earth. Earth was going to meet the future on its own terms.